Go Blue. Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Mr. Jason Roscom with me here each and every single week. The Darth... Oh, shit. Whoops. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. The Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I think that I'm a little rushed. The driving home and everything else. That's just to get everything set up. So I'm trying to find my center here, and I think I'm going to ban you from doing anything like that ever again, because I can see what's happening here. Is my mic working? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
I can see what's happening. There was Penn State bashing going on, all kinds of like Michigan nonsense happening in this alternate reality you guys live in. So whatever. I'm glad you had your fun, but we'll see what happens next week.
All right. So before we see what happens, this is episode 79, and what are we talking about this week?
We're talking about the fact that it's the last remote recording.
Damn right.
Hopefully ever.
Yes.
But at least we know how to do it. So we have it in the bag. We did 40 episodes at least.
So yeah, we started doing this well before episode 50, because we did episode 50 from Mississippi when I was down there.
Right.
So yeah, at least 30 episodes, probably more.
Crazy. Yeah. So yeah, and so we're going to talk about. We already talked about that. So now we're going to talk about other stuff, and then eventually we'll talk about Rebels season 4.
Yes. And it's not the end of Rebels. We're only talking about an additional 4 episodes.
4 episodes that the Occupation and Flight of the Defender, Kindred, and Crawler Commanders.
See.
3PO.
So until we get to that point, yes, let's jump right into some news. Right. News. I say those listening to the audio version won't see my air quotes, but so this is the big thing that's been going on over the last few days, and I'm going to have a lot to say about it. But allegedly, Kathleen Kennedy was at some fucking event thing. I don't know what it was, but a journalist kind of cornered her and asked her about the alleged Boba Fett movie. And she, again, this is all alleged because none of this is official announcements. None of this came from fucking StarWars.com. Nothing came from Kennedy herself. It's this reporter claiming that she told him that the Boba Fett standalone movie is 100% dead. They're putting all focus on the Mandalorian right now, and that is their priority. There is no Boba Fett movie after all. So there was no fucking Boba Fett movie to begin with. That's the thing that just drives me fucking crazy. We talk about this every fucking time on the podcast. Every time somebody's like, oh, they're making the Obi-Wan movie, and they're making the fucking Gonk Droid movie, and they're making the Boba Fett movie.
What a great movie that would be.
Yeah,
the Gonk Droid movie. Gonk.
Yeah. And we tell you, motherfuckers, every single week, listen to us. This shit is not official until you see a Lucasfilm press release or a Disney press release or something on fucking StarWars.com or the stupid Star Wars show or any of that shit. If you don't see it
stupid.
Anyway, you're breaking my train of thought. If you don't see it on one of those sources, it ain't fucking real.
That's what I do.
I don't give a shit about Variety.com or the Hollywood Reporter or any of that bullshit. If it don't come from the official sources, then it's nothing. It's nothing. And now everybody's like, oh, they canceled the Boba Fett movie because of these boycotters, or what's even better is like the people who are actually boycotting. Because I'm in a lot of Star Wars Facebook groups that swing in all kinds of different directions, and there's some that are like this whole pro boycotting thing to people that, yeah, we didn't go see Solo because fuck The Last Jedi. Look, I dislike The Last Jedi as much as the next person, but I still want Star Wars content. I just want good Star Wars content. I don't want to boycott. I just want them to make better movies. I want them to not write super shitty scripts and just piss on a whole bunch of the characters that we actually liked from Force Awakens or the original trilogy. So my message to both sides, first of all, to the people who are upset that the Boba Fett movie is now canceled. It was never on in the first fucking place. Calm the fuck down. It never existed. So you can't get upset about something that was never fucking there to begin with. And then for all the people that are happy, like, yes, the boycott worked. They're canceling more movies. Way to go, dumbasses. Yet now you don't get what could have potentially been a good Star Wars movie, if indeed this is all true. So you're all fucking idiots. Fuck off.
You need to work on your rant finishing.
Well, I'm trying not to yell really loud because, like, right on the other side of this camera is a wall, and there's another room right there. And if the person is in bed right now, they can hear everything I'm fucking saying.
Who's in bed at fucking? It's what, 7 o'clock Central Time? Not even. Who the fuck's in bed besides you? You would be trying to go to sleep. You talk about why you have sleep issues. Who's going to bed at fucking 8 o'clock at night?
Look, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about the potential person that's on the other side of this wall.
You did it. Never mind. I'm not going to complete that thought. Look, you already hit the nail on the head. It's fake news. Fake news.
Yeah.
And yeah, air quote news. Who cares? I applaud our efforts at making sure that this nonsense doesn't affect anything that we talk about with Star Wars, aside from bringing it up and calling it. Because we have Bronco Fett here, and obviously it's important to him if this was going to be a real thing. But let us assure you that it's not a real thing. We have no insider information. However, if it didn't come out on StarWars.com or seen on the very pleasant 15 minutes of the Star Wars show, then it's not a thing. Not real.
Indeed.
We've already spent too much time talking.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to skip
this. And that's me saying that.
Yeah. I'm going to skip this note I have in here about the Rian Johnson trilogy because I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I say anything about that. Anyway, moving on. Got a couple of shout outs. First of all, a huge shout out to longtime listener and the proprietor of the Used and Abused podcast, Scott Rasmussen, who just had his first granddaughter over the last week. And he had his first grandson 2 months ago. So Scott is
we have a grandparent listening to our podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically we could be grandparents. Shh. Like you especially. Like shh. I'm just saying.
Quiet. You don't say these things. That's not no. We don't talk about it. We don't think about it. I'm not ready to be a grandparent. I'll tell you that right now. I feel old enough as it fucking is.
Yeah. I just found out in my little pregame that I did before we started the podcast that longtime listener Bronco Fett is exactly 1 year younger than me.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that part before.
Yeah, he's born in the same month as me and everything. So we'll have to have a co-birthday celebration towards the end of December on the show. Anyway, moving on. We've got an update, I think. I would imagine you will elaborate on this a little bit to your donation, breast cancer fund that you were doing for your birthday.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's one of those things that it got to 500 like that. I mean, honestly, it was, and it was the listeners and family and other stuff. I'm just really, really kind of blown away by it, how quickly it went. And in fact, as I was my cousins, my wife put together a thing where we went to Topgolf the other night, and it was kind of like a cousins gathering for like my birthday, and my cousin Caroline's birthday's today. Happy birthday, Caroline, if you're listening. So we were actually talking about, because my cousin Caroline, it was her sister-in-law that passed away. And so she's also doing the same fundraiser for the same thing. And she's rocketing up there too. So nice. She actually increased hers because she wasn't expecting to go so fast. We weren't expecting the outpouring of support that we got. And I'm actually kicking around the idea of increasing mine as well, because I know there's some people that actually approached me and said, hey, I get paid this and that and the other thing. We wanted to donate. So I may increase it. If you see that happen, it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm like, I want to not belittle. That's not the right word. I can't think of the right word right now, but I don't want to change the fact that the people who did donate and we reached the goal. The goal, I had set it at 500. We reached the goal. I'm not going to renege on the holiday party or the holiday special stuff. We reached the goal, and I'm like super stoked. about it. Yeah, I can't even talk about it. That's how happy I am about that.
Yeah, it's good. And yeah, I noticed at least a couple of listeners donated to that as well.
Yeah.
So to you guys, thank you so much.
If I was prepared, I would list these people's names.
We'll stall for a second and I can pull it up.
Yeah, if you pull it up. So anyway, Jason has a note in here about a holiday special party. We will figure that out. I'm gonna imagine it'd be at some point around like Thanksgiving-ish, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's when the original came out, and that's about that time last year that we did our holiday special episode.
Yeah, so we'll definitely do like a live. I'd love to do like an MST 3000 thing, honestly, through the holiday special. You know what I mean? I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, and that was kind of the intention, I think. I think it's like we just, you, me, if we want to throw in a guest and just sit in front of the TV, like pull it up on like the TV in the studio, set up the cameras facing us, set up the mics, and just record the whole thing. Like do it over YouTube Live, and we could also release it as an audio episode if we wanted to.
Absolutely. Yeah, why not? Let the podcast audience listen to me fucking thrash that movie for an hour and whatever. And what is it, an hour and 25 minutes or something
like that. Yeah. So I'm looking at the donations page. We've got myself, of course, our good friend and Mr. Mark Shotgun Somerville, Wally Frogmore, who Wally, by the way, I owe Wally an apology. Evidently he was the one who came up with the idea for the Trivial Pursuit rematch.
They call you out on that?
Yeah. Well, somebody called me out in the chat last week. And I just noticed it recently. So, yeah, I think I gave Tony the credit for that, where it should have gone to Wally. So I do apologize.
Wolfowski says he sent me a friend request and I'm ignoring it, and I wouldn't do that to a listener.
Yeah, so those are the people that I'm seeing from the podcast that donated. If I missed your name, let us know and we'll give you a shout out.
Oh yeah, look at that. He sent me a friend request. I did not see it. That's you know what? Oh man. Did you do that deliberately? All right, legitimately, Donald Sulsky's like his cover picture is like, this like banner passing at the big house, and there's some weird swollen thing with a helmet on as his profile picture. I think he just did that just to fuck with me.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
If I was smart, I would show it on the thing. He's a huge Michigan fan, and good for you. Good for you. At least you're not an Ohio State fan. I'll get to you in a minute. It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what happened like 2 weeks ago? I started that job, and my whole like habit pattern is so broken right now that again we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so thanks again to the listeners. Like I said, I'm blown away by the generosity, and somebody had actually, I forget who it was, had apologized for not sending out any little bit like that you can put towards something like that. It means so much because every little bit adds up. You know? So I'm just grateful that the family members and my Masonic brothers and our listeners all like made it happen so quickly that I think my Eric Johnson, who's the current master here at the lodge, actually he donated enough to boom max it out. So he was the last guy.
Because I noticed when I did after I did mine, it was sitting at like 140, and it was sitting there for like a day and a half, 2 days. I'm like, oh man, what the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden, like boom, like I check again, and it's like.
Yeah, it happened so quick. It was really cool. So why don't you do your week? And I'm getting a pile of friend requests all of a sudden. I just saw them pop on my computer.
It's the Russian bots. They're here to troll you.
It's not popping up on my app though. That's fucking weird. Oh, there it is.
All right. So
I'm gonna rant so bad about the Facebook app.
All right. Well, before you do, let me just quickly get through my week. As we alluded to at the beginning of the show, I'm going home this week. We've been talking about it for fucking months. I have been on the road away from New Jersey, either in Mississippi or here down in San Antonio, Texas. It's all coming to an end. I took my last written test today, blew it out of the water. I have one hands-on evaluation on Wednesday. And then after that, I'm done. like no more academics, yet they're still keeping me here for fucking 3 days. Don't ask. And yeah, and then I'm home this weekend. I'm home on Saturday. I'll see Dave's scruffy face Saturday afternoon when my plane lands in Philadelphia. He'll be picking me up at the airport, and yeah,
that's right.
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I've got some anxiety going. It's a whole mixture of shit, and I'm
not surprising. Not surprising. You will have you talked at length about that on the special edition of the Jason podcast.
Yeah. So I guess we might as well put some perspective in there for the people who are just listening on the audio. While we were waiting for Dave to get here to start the podcast, he was running late. You were doing. I'm sure you'll talk about it when we get to your part. But so yeah, he was running almost an hour late. So I'm just sitting there, and everybody on the Facebook group in the Sidebar Cantina, they're like, when do you start? And I'm like, oh, 7 o'clock or whatever. And then I say, we got to push it back a little while, and everybody's getting all antsy. So I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I just fucking throw up a live and just bullshit with everybody while we're all waiting? I mean, we're all just sitting around here just waiting for Dave to get back. So yeah, I just started my own individual YouTube live. And then, of course, we got you to call in, which was great. I'm shocked that actually worked, at least for a little while before you lost your signal. But yeah, it was fun. And I'm thinking, like, why haven't I been doing this before? Like, we have the technology. It's not that hard.
Well, probably mainly because you had to study and do shit like that before. True. Now that you don't have to, like, the stress level is a little less because you're not having to study. So, now you can actually, like, do something that's a little bit more fun.
Yep. So
I feel nasally. Do I sound nasally?
Yeah, you sound like maybe you're like coming off of a cold, or you got allergies or something. But anyway, so getting back to my week. Sorry. So I'm getting really fucking angry because I was talking again during the pre-show about how I use when I like check news now online. I just go to like Google News because it's just like a collection of a bunch of different other news websites, so you can kind of pick and choose like which websites you want to read from, and you can kind of get both the perspective from both sides, because how all news is slanted nowadays one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of look at both to kind of find out where the story is in the middle there. And I guess since I go to like a lot of Star Wars related websites, they feed me a lot of Star Wars like headlines, and I'm getting really fucking pissed because, like, I don't know if you've seen this at all, but like a lot of these clickbaity websites are all talking about like fucking episode 9 spoilers already. They're all talking about like, episode 9 leaks are talking about the return of blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? If those turn out to be real, I'm going to be fucking pissed. And I'm seeing these everywhere now. And I'm just like, I may have to go calm out a fucking year before, before the fucking movie comes out. And like, how I was mentioning, I'm in a whole bunch of Star Wars Facebook groups. Like, they're posting the shit in there too. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I may have to like turn off notifications in all these Star Wars groups, and I may have to stop going to like these fucking news sites because I don't want to get any like fucking headline that's going to give a big spoiler and then ruin the goddamn movie for me. It's a shame that it's coming to this.
I have one word of advice for you, or several words. Don't watch the news. I mean, it's not even worth it. It really isn't. There's nothing good happening. I'm going to interrupt your week because we should have talked about it at the top. Just offering out some condolences. I don't know why I feel like I want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Condolences for everything that's happening and happened in Pittsburgh with the shooting. It's fucking awful, horrific human being. To do some shit like that. I know that I'm trying to think of Gibson. Is that the guy? I'm the worst with everything. We have one of our loyal listeners is in the Pittsburgh area. So it's just one of those things where there's so much sensationalism in everything with the news, whether it's Star Wars news, whether it's just real news like a shooting or something like that. On Facebook I have like the local Fox 29 like on my Facebook feed, so it'll pop up with news stuff, and I look at stuff they're sensationalizing things that are going well beyond the scope of the Philadelphia area. And I get it, like national news, and they're getting attention, but there's sensationalism across the board.
Oh yeah.
And it's I mentioned it, I think, in a post about my view on extremism, and unfortunately the news is propagating a level of extremism that I'm just not comfortable with.
Yeah, they're exacerbating a lot of this.
Yes, good word.
Yeah. And it's not good.
So I don't watch the news. Like, you talk about anxiety levels and shit like that. Like, I'm medicated for a lot of that shit. So, and even with that, I don't watch. I just don't. There's nothing in my life that I'm missing right now because I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I get my weather from a fucking app. I don't have to watch any bullshit. No lead-in stories. I go on Twitter to find out what's going on with my sports teams because that's what I follow in my Twitter feed if it's not Star Wars related.
Yeah,
and that's it. I keep my stress level down, and you know, it's tough. It's really tough in this day and age. And we started to talk about it in the pre-show, we'll call it. Just with how, like, with Twitter and everything else, like, people just have this feeling they're so serious.
Yeah.
What, serious? No, I happened to look over and I saw the word serious on the chat.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So anyway, continue with your week.
Yeah. The only other note I have in here is, I may be watching college football this week for the first time because I'm sure you will get into it when you get into the football portion of the podcast.
What makes you think I would even give it a
thought? You know, there's a pretty big game that's got some ramifications to hosts and listeners of the podcast. So I may watch my first college football game this weekend if I can find the means to actually watch it. Though I'll be flying that day.
You'll be flying. What time is that game? They were smart. They make it like a 7 o'clock game. I'm gonna look that up right now while you talk.
Well, I mean, because I know last time I checked, Michigan was number 5. I don't know if they've climbed.
When was that? Like
last week. So
they are in fact number 5, and Penn State's 14, and the game is at 3:45. So you should be. Thank you, Donald Salsky, for backing me up on that. You should be able to watch it.
But now the question is going to be: is it going to be like a nationally televised thing, or is it going to be like fucking ESPN? Or
it should be. Oh, that I don't know, because I know you don't have cable, but I can.
Right, I've got the digital antenna, so I can get like all the local stations.
It's on ESPN, so I'll give you my Hulu login.
All right, we could talk about that this weekend.
Not that we would share logins.
No, never,
because that would be bad, right? Is that bad?
Yes.
Is that the line? Donald Sosey saying Michigan by 11.5. Is that the actual line? What's the line on the game? Grandpa's here. Hi, Grandpa.
Is he talking about himself or you?
I don't know. Bronco Fed had said Grandpa's here on the chat.
Yeah. So, all right, now we can do this next note as a kind of a combined thing because this came up. I don't know how this came up. I think Bronco Fett tagged me in a Facebook post. Or no, he just wrote something on his own personal Facebook wall, and I replied, and it started this conversation. But I guess a lot of people in the country don't know what Wawa is. And, you know, now that I think about it, I didn't know what it was until I got out to Jersey in the mid-90s. So, and the first time I heard it, I'm like, what the fuck is Wawa? That's the stupidest sounding thing I've ever heard in my life. Well, come to find out, Wawa is this convenience store chain, but it's also like a sandwich shop. I don't know how you would describe the sandwich making, the hoagies portion of it. But yeah, it's this thing that's kind of isolated to Jersey, Pennsylvania, and it's spreading a little bit out beyond that.
Do you want me to talk about this?
Yeah, since you've been familiar with it longer than I have.
All right, so you have to start with talking about what happened to Bronco Fett. So you prefer Sheets, of course you would.
Sheets is fucking disgusting. I'm sorry.
Sheets can suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so all right, so Bronco Fett, apparently with his Hulu, like I guess the commercials he's getting with his Hulu are all New Jersey based for
Right,
some
right.
fucking strange reason. He's in Idaho and he's getting Jersey shit on his Hulu. So he was posting about that, about the Wawa thing. He's also posting about all the New Jersey election shit that's been going on, the fucking lottery, all this other shit. And it's been driving him crazy, and I think it's fucking hilarious. I would never, excuse me, I would never wish ill, on Bronco Fett, and I certainly don't want to see him suffer. But this is pretty fucking funny and ironic that you would be getting New Jersey shit out there. It
has to have something to do with us.
It has to have the podcast or whatever. I don't know, but that's. The irony of it is so fucking funny. Yeah. So I've just been laughing the whole time, and I'm sorry it's at your expense, but it is really, really funny. So that being said, so Wawa started as just a food market for eggs and milk and shit like that. It is a farming community in Pennsylvania, and so like I said, milk, eggs, shit like that, just a general store, like just a farm store, and then they grew and expanded and took on a role of, okay, they're like a local store where you can get that stuff. And also they make sandwiches. So little known fact, in the mid 90s, I actually worked at Wawa. I
think you've mentioned that very briefly on the show.
Yeah. It was one of the many jobs that I had when I was like 18, 19 years old. I worked there briefly. Because honestly, I was getting hit on by the manager, and I was not comfortable with that because he was a man, and
Dave's all about the pussy.
Yeah, Dave. I guess I don't know. Maybe I look good in khakis. I don't know, but anyway. So, do they have dude eggs? I don't know what that means. So,
it's a Mormon thing, I think.
Dude eggs?
I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, so Wawa is like, as it started to grow like out of Pennsylvania and into New Jersey a little bit, what their shtick is that you go in there and have a fresh made sandwich. They use Amoroso rolls, which is if you're anywhere near the Philly area, Amoroso rolls. It's one of the better like mass produced rolls. Like if you want good bakery rolls, you go to Del Buono's, which is down the road from us. Or if you want, most of these places, like it's this cheesesteak place and everything else, use Amoroso rolls. It's a Philly staple. So they would have fresh Amoroso rolls, and then they had deli meats that they would, I'm going to order let's just say a roast beef sandwich. So they had the roast beef juice, and you go in the slicer, you slice off roast beef to a certain amount, you put it in a cup, you get everything together, throw some cheese on it. It was my favorite fucking sandwich ever, by the by. And so it started out with that. The best part was most Wawas are 24 hours.
Yes.
So this is why Wawa is popular, and this is why Wawa grew to what it is. It is a mega giant now. It's in Florida. It's in Jersey up to, just a little bit above Trenton, and then it slides all the way down to Virginia. This is where, the last Wawa you're going to hit on 95 is in Virginia. So it's pretty big. And then there's a whole shit ton of Wawas that have gone up in Orlando, Tampa, the mid-Florida area where all the transplants have gone. And they're also talking about, I think, in South Carolina, too, because they're expanding. Nice. So basically where all the Northeasterners have gone, like the snowbirds and everything else, they're putting Wawas up. Anyway, so the best part about Wawa is, like, you could go in there at, at midnight or 2, 3 in the morning and fucking get a fresh sandwich. You're out on a bender, you need some food, you go in there and get a fresh fucking sandwich. You're not eating some shit that's been wrapped up in a fucking, like, it was made 3 hours ago and wrapped up and fucking thrown on a shelf in some cooler. But, you go out there and you'd make a sandwich with the slicers. They got so big that they moved on to like a computer, like a touch screen to order the sandwiches. And now they like kind of pre-prepare the meats. They don't have the deli slicers anymore, just because the making sandwiches is actually most of what Wawa does now.
Yeah.
The majority of them, they've gone from a small store to like a bigger store with a gas station. So if you're familiar with Sheetz, if you're familiar with Circle K, like Circle K doesn't make sandwiches, but it really what it was for our area was a 7-Eleven competition.
Yeah.
And 7-Eleven can't compete because they don't make fresh food. And that's the big thing with Wawa. You go in there at any time and have fresh food. So,
and what's interesting now is that this other company called Royal Farms is trying to like wedge itself into that same market. You know, the half convenience store, half food, gas station, but their focus is on like chicken, like fried chicken and shit like that. And it's really fucking good.
It is. Their fried chicken is good. I'm not a fan of Royal Farms except for their fried chicken is good. There's not a lot of real good fried chicken places around here.
Yeah.
And the Royal Farms chicken is good.
Yeah, and Popeyes doesn't count. Fuck Popeyes.
No, that shit's awful. That shit
it
goes through me so goddamn fast. I might as well fucking just throw it right in the toilet.
So anyway, let's carry on with your week.
All right, so we had the Wawa discussion, listen, Wawa's the best. I'm a huge Wawa proponent. I go to Wawa damn near every day. I stop there on my way to work. There's one right before I get on the turnpike. It's in my neighborhood. It's the best.
Yeah. And they're always packed. There's like probably 10,000 Wawas in New Jersey, and they're all always packed during like breakfast and lunch.
My wife and kids would tell you that I know, like, if you ask me directions to go to a place in South Jersey, I will tell you to go to this Wawa and then direct you from there.
Right.
Like, I know where damn near every Wawa is in South Jersey.
And there's new ones coming up every fucking day.
Every day.
It's crazy.
Anyway,
it's like 7-Eleven in California. If you ever go to California, you see there's a 7-Eleven on every other goddamn corner. It's kind of like that. But
actually, they grew to that point and they shrunk down a little bit. Wawa actually sold a lot of their properties because they're going to the bigger stores. But anyway, this is not.
We digress. Yeah. This is what you get. This is what happens when Dave and Jason plow the world.
Man, I was fucking hammered last week. By the way, that
I can tell.
Wow. Listening to it after the fact, and Kathy made a note of it too. She's like, "Yeah, you were going pretty good." This fucking 9.5s, man, were brutal.
I could like one of those would fucking floor me right now.
So anyway, my week, I don't have it here because I'm an asshole. My cousins got me for my birthday. They got me it's the original Star Wars poster, but
I saw that.
Oh, you saw the picture on Facebook?
Saw it on Facebook, yeah.
I was going to actually post on Instagram for the podcast after we taped. So they got me that. It's awesome. I don't have any place to put it in here, so it's going to be a studio piece. I think it'll make a nice addition.
But don't we already have a New Hope?
This is a smaller one, and it's on wood.
Oh, okay.
So it can go pretty much anywhere. It doesn't need to be framed because it's like laminated to the wood.
Oh, okay.
So, very, very cool. Thanks to Matt and Jen and Caroline and the whole and Becky and the whole gang for hooking me up with that. That was awesome. So the reason I'm late, I decided last year, I got a bunch of bullshit medically wrong with me, whatever. Nobody gives a shit.
I care.
But it's one of those things that it like, I have a tough time sometimes. And last year I decided, you know what, I'm going to go, I think I talked about it on podcast before. It's on the Delaware Water Gap, up just on the Appalachian Trail. There's a mountain called Mount Tammany. It's not very tall. We're not talking anything like out in Idaho or anything. It's only like 1,500. And, but it's a hard trail to hike. And, you know, I'm an experienced hiker. I can do hard trails. This one's a challenge. There's a lot, there's very, very tight lines on the topographical map going up this thing. And what's nice about it is the descent is, aside from fucking snapping an ankle because it's all fucking rocks, the descent's pretty easy. So anyway, last year I did it. It was kind of like a challenge to myself. Like, hey, you know what? If you can do this, you push your body to do this. You can push your body to do anything. I've been feeling that way again, and I don't know if that has something to do with my birthday or whatever. So today was the day I decided to do it. My birthday was Friday, and I'm like, today was the day. So drove out there. It's a couple-hour drive to get. You think New Jersey is so small on the map for all you people out in the West, right? You got these giant states. And New Jersey looks so small on the map. it's still like for us, especially in South Jersey where you can drive 20 minutes and hit basically everything. Like to drive 2 hours in New Jersey and still be in New Jersey is weird. It's just fucking weird. And when you go all the way to the top of it, you're talking like a 3.5 hour drive and you're like at High Point. It's like you can't believe it's New Jersey. So don't bust balls on Northeast hiking trails. The Appalachian Trail is a fucking big deal. I knew this was going to happen. Everyone knows what the Appalachian Trail.
What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone wants to kick me in the nuts today. That's fine. I can take it. Give it. So anyway, I did that last year and I did it again today. The second annual Dave's meditation hike, we'll call it. And my descent or actually the ascent was a lot slower than I anticipated. And so I was hurrying through the descent and still ended up being late. So that's why I was late. Sometimes you just need to go do something by yourself to just be able to say that, hey, you know what? I can do that. I can do anything. And that's what it was. So I highly encourage all of you, especially when you're feeling like, you know what? I don't want to do that because I can't. Yes, you can. You just need to go out there and push yourself. And if you really can't, then you can't. But at least you said you went out there and tried. Yoda's not always right in the do not, there is no try statement. But anyway, that was me. It was more of a mental reset for my current physical condition.
Yeah.
And, that's it.
Yeah, I'm sure you need that sometimes, and I'm sure it's good therapy.
Exactly. The Bunny Hill at Bogus Basin is about the same. The Bunny Hill? See, this is wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
I've hiked out there. It's fine. Trees are beautiful, especially up in the Pacific Northwest up there, like up in Washington State. Oh shit, we were there for fucking survival school out in those fucking woods.
3 weeks in the woods.
3 feet of goddamn snow. Fuck that snow. God damn it. But yeah, one of my personal goals is to hike a lot more of the Appalachian Trail. Like I've done most of Pennsylvania, the Appalachian Trail, and I've done some in New Jersey, like recently. But I'd like to go down to like Georgia and like hit some of the Appalachian Trail there, just because it's such a huge, huge thing. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got. All right. Let's talk about football real quick, quick. So we're already past a half hour on our bullshitting. Penn State, Michigan's this weekend. Go watch it. We beat Iowa, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting to. And when Trace McSorley went down, I was like, I'm confident in Tommy Stevens. I think he's going to be a good starting quarterback next year because he's got a lot more arm talent than Trace McSorley does. He's more of a traditional quarterback. He's a little bit bigger, but that didn't work for Hackenberg in Franklin's offense. So the good news is that Stevens knows how to run, whereas Hackenberg was not a runner. So anyway, a little insight into some Penn State stuff, which nobody cares about except for me. And
yeah, these names mean nothing to me. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So Penn State, Michigan, we'll see. I'm not making any predictions. We're going to see how the game goes. Yeah. And I would love, I can't wait to get on a podcast if fucking Penn State stomps Michigan in the fucking big house.
I'm sure we will not hear the end of it.
You fucking go blue motherfuckers, and your bandwagon ass is going to have to eat shit. Because honestly, for me, we're the number 14 team in the country. Michigan's supposed to be so much better. You should beat us. You should. But I don't know. And of course, there's going to put on your fucking headgear too. That's a whole nother thing. If you watch college football, you've watched College Game Day, and it's not going to be 41-14. No fucking way. That fucking defense is suspect. It's suspect. And if you don't think so, then whatever. But anyway, you might stop McSorley, but you're not going to stop Sanders. So all right. the other game, I'm not going to recap the games of the weekend. Penn State won. That's all I give a shit about.
Yeah. Stupid.
And the Eagles won. See? Woohoo.
Yeah. Stupid BSU beat Air Force.
And that's what Bronco Fett really wants to talk about. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Jason and I worked with a bunch of academy guys that were on our former commander was on the '98 team. You know, one of the best teams Air Force ever put out. And the fact is, they were recently honored for that. But the fact of the matter is, you know, the academy teams are just not built. Like, the one thing about the academy, like Naval Academy, West Point, all those teams that play Division I football, they're honestly built to be Division III or maybe Division II. There's a lot of talent there, and there is some recruiting that happens, but you have to meet all these standards to get into the academy.
Yeah.
And this isn't an excuse. This is just talking about, like, when you get a successful football player out of the academy, it's so difficult because it's not like regular college. Like, just because you're on the football team, you don't get like preferential treatment and scheduling and everything else. Like, talking to Matt, our former commander, we talked about like what his day was like or what his course load was like. He was doing like 27 credit hours a semester, like, and also doing the full fitness routine, you know, 2-a-days and shit like that. He was doing all of that as a football player because the academy has those standards. There's no like special treatment because you're on a football team. And
you don't get to take intro to phys ed, like lesbian dance theory, and fucking gender studies.
And they don't have tutors that follow them everywhere. The expectation is this is, you know, we're putting you under pressure, regardless of what you're a midshipman or you're a cadet at West Point or a cadet at the Air Force Academy. So the fact of the matter is that you have a lot of talented athletes that go there and play football. And when you can put together a team that can compete against another Division I team, like a BSU, who is recruiting in that area and is able to get players that are bigger. Look at the average offensive lineman on the academy compared to the offensive lineman at BSU, and look at the size difference. You can't be that big. We flew with a guy who was a lineman at the academy, and he was a big, strong guy. Don't get me wrong, but he was definitely shorter. Like, he's not 6'3", 6'4". You know, he's a 5'10", big, strong guy, and that's what they get at the academy. You know, you get taller guys, but you can't be huge. You have a tape measurement you have to make with your waist. There's no waiver for that because you're playing football.
Yeah, you have to meet military standards.
And you have to do the PT, and you have to pass all these tests. So I say all that not to take anything away from Boise State. They beat an Air Force team that I'm glad that they hung with them. I think Air Force, they put up, what was the final score? Bronco Fed will put it up here in a second.
I think it was, what, 48-38, something like that?
It was like 47-38, something like that. Yeah. I'm glad Air Force put up some points. It shows but honestly, for like the academies, like especially Air Force Academy, because they're playing in a good conference, like there's good competition there, like including a team like Boise State, and you know they have to step up and they have to go out and play hard. It's not a cakewalk. And Navy plays a little bit easier schedule. But they're playing like Temple and some other teams, and Temple's not a great team, but it's, you know, whatever. It is what it is. I don't want to belabor that. Hail to fucking, you know, the Boise State, because they beat up on Air Force. It was tough. It's always tough for me to follow the Air Force thing, knowing the fucking football players and knowing them, like knowing them and being friends with those guys. You know, whatever. It's just, it puts you in a different mental state, I guess, for all that. But hey, listen, I like Whipster 101.
Yep.
Who's first in the nation?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that. I wasn't sure. All right, so we ready to talk about some Rebels?
Sure. Very like very tone deaf fucking first half of the episode here, and I apologize.
So first of all, I got to ask you, did you get a chance to rewatch these episodes?
I did not. However, I did watch the Rebels Recon for it.
Oh, okay. So that's like the recap and then like the behind the scenes.
I saw the recap. I got some notes actually from it on based on that. So it was actually, I should have been watching more of that like throughout this, as opposed to just trying to go through the Wikipedia, because it actually like does screenshots, and it, like when I see stuff, not that I was watching this while I was driving.
No, of course not.
Not that I ever do that ever, but when you look at it, you do see it kicks things off, like when you actually see an image as opposed to just trying to read it through a thing. So go.
Okay, so
Jason, do things. Why? Why do I keep stopping the show? You should just continue
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Best part, here's the fucking best part. The awkward like silences that our YouTube audience is that our YouTube audience is catching, like and bring up like it all gets edited out. That all those pregnant pauses get pulled out. So like when you're listening to the podcast, you don't like it just we're like I'm talking about it right now and people are going to be like there wasn't any kind of like pause. What is he talking about? There was like a good 4 seconds of when I stopped talking and then finally Jason started. Yeah. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes Dave isn't on his game. And unfortunately today is one of those games. And I apologize because I'm a fucking sweaty mess. I fucking hiked 5 miles uphill and fuck you. Rebels.
Okay. So to start off, just to recap, I'm watching this on Amazon Prime because I bought the whole season on Prime. It was like $30, I think, for all fucking 16 episodes. Not bad.
Nice.
We almost had to call an audible this week because I pull it up on fucking Amazon Prime yesterday. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit and I'm going to watch all 4 episodes in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Get it all done. Pull up my Google Chrome because I use Google Chrome as my browser. Mm-hmm. Hit play on the fucking first episode, the occupation. Plays for like 5 seconds and then boom, like error, can't find webpage or something. I'm like, huh, that's kind of weird. Refresh, loads the website as normal. All right, let's watch. Plays 5 seconds, boom, error, can't find the website. I'm like, what the fuck? So I completely closed the browser, reopen a fresh browser, do it again, same fucking thing happens. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Go to the episode 6. I'm like, let's see if it happens with the other episode. Exact same thing. Go to one of the previous episodes I've watched before. Exact same thing. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Prime? I'm getting pissed at this point. I restart my computer. I do all the basic troubleshooting, and it's just not fucking connecting to Prime for more than a few seconds. And so finally, I'm like, let me see if it works on my iPad. So I pull up the app on my iPad, and it worked. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Go back to Chrome, still doesn't work. So I ended up having to use fucking Internet Explorer as my browser. And for fuck's sake, yeah, exactly. And it fucking worked. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Come on, Chrome. You're better than this. Google's really pissing me off lately.
Oh, that. We'll talk about Rebels in a second. Fucking the Facebook app is pissing me off.
Now, why is that? Because you mentioned that earlier.
The fucking Facebook app. Like, I go to look at, I'll open up one of the posts that somebody posts in the Sidebar Cantina, right? And like, so I'm looking at the comments, but it doesn't show me the actual post. So I'm dicking around trying to fucking find the post. I'm like, what? Show me the fucking post. Like, you're not saving electrons. You're not saving print by not show me the fucking post. What asshole in some update said, you know what? People don't need to see the post. They just want to see the comments. How do you put any context into what they're saying if you don't see the fucking post? You morons. And then the randomness of the fucking timeline too. Like, Jesus Christ.
I have been noticing that. Yeah.
I'm a Facebook stockholder. I want to fucking email them and be like, look, stop dicking around with it. Either you make it some sort of more customizable or whatever, but I get it. Their logarithms are trying to do fucking things and whatever. If somebody who's on my friend list posts something, I want to see that. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to have to fucking scroll through 50 things that were posted on Wednesday and I'm here on Saturday and you're showing me Wednesday fucking shit on the goddamn Facebook. Why? I don't give a shit. That's in the past.
Yeah.
Like, then I'm going to like it. Well, like, oh, that's interesting. And I'll hit the like button just because that's what you fucking do in the Facebook world. Like, sure. Oh, well, I want this person to know that I looked at this and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to hit the like button.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Right. And then you feel guilty if you didn't like it. Well, if I don't like this and do that, it's a whole fucking thing. That could be a whole fucking podcast in and of itself, social media etiquette, but which we don't have.
Maybe that'll be episode 1 of Dave and Jason Plow the World, but continue.
Plow the World. That's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I'm just sick of it. Facebook is starting to become unusable to me. Like, I want to read the fucking post. If you put it in my thing and said, hey, somebody posted something, when I open it, yeah, I'm going to read the comments, but I want to see the initial fucking post. Make it so that I can see it.
Well, that happened to me.
You don't see. You know what? You can't even talk because you don't update your fucking apps.
Well, no, but it happened to me in the Facebook, like in the web browser, because just this evening, as we were getting ready to fucking start the show, I posted a thing in the Sidebar Cantina saying, "Hey, starting at 7 o'clock." And then when I went to go update the fucking time, I couldn't find it. I'm scrolling through the whole fucking thing, and it's going to like 7 days ago. I'm like, no, I just posted this thing an hour ago. Where the fuck is it?
Where did it go? And why do when I scroll up, all of a sudden it like shows up in the middle of something else? Why? Why does it fucking do that? What algorithm is saying like, yeah, you know what? Let's make this a deck of cards. We're gonna throw it up in the fucking air, and however it lands, it fucking lands. I'm really. It's been like the last. They must have pushed an update while we were sleeping, or trying to sleep anyway, and it just. And like the guys are trying to friend request me, and I'm not ignoring it. I had no idea I had a fucking friend request. There used to be a button on the bottom with 2 little people, and there was a little circle with the red circle that said you have 1 friend request. Oh, I have a friend request. Beep. You're going to show me, like, as you're scrolling through, it's going to show you 65 people that you have no fucking clue who they are because there's one mutual friend through some fucking weird, circle of life bullshit. And you're going to show me that, but you can't show me the fucking person that I actually want to be friends with. I can't somehow connect with them unless they yell at me in the fucking chat. It's bullshit. It shouldn't be that way. Fuck you, Facebook. You're fucking it up. You're fucking it up. I'm using the high knife hand. You're fucking it up.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, the high knife hand.
I thought that was the chop.
No, high knife hand.
Okay.
Yeah, low knife hand. The thing. Mid knife hand. These guys will tell you. The Marines and the fucking Army guys. They'll tell you about the knife hand. Anyway. Star Wars Rebels! Yay!
I like
Star Wars shit.
Yes, Rebels.
Fuck Facebook. Fuck cancer, fuck Facebook, and fuck Michigan.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rebels.
So, all right. So I'm actually got to go through my notes. I'm trying to remember.
I should drink during the episode. I probably would it took me a while to get loosened up.
Yeah.
Awkward silence again. What the fuck, Jason?
I'm trying to remember exactly what the premise of this first episode was because my notes don't really tell me that.
The title is called The Occupation.
Right, because we're going back to Lothal.
Lothal.
Yes.
Jesus. Jason, God, I'm the one who's not supposed to know shit about what we're doing.
If you had just not said anything, then again, the awkward silence would have been taken out. I would have found my spot.
I can't handle it. I can't handle the quiet. It's just, I have to, like some noise has to happen. I feel like something should be happening.
Right.
Like, people are watching.
Yeah, so we decided, that's right, because that's how, was that how the last episode ended when they said, oh, no, wait. Okay. Again, just trying to get my bearings here. Right. So Ezra gets these visions of fucking Lothal. Like, something's going on in Lothal. The fucking old Joe and Ryder and, all this stuff. So they get back.
Squiggly Joe.
Yeah.
Squiggly Joe makes an appearance.
Mm-hmm. They talk to Mon Mothma, talking about the... and then they get a transmission from fucking Ryder talking about the Empire and their plans for the fucking the updated advanced TIE Defender, whatever it's called now.
TIE Defender.
Yeah. So our crew they beat feet to Lothal. So now we're
notes did you fucking write if you can't even understand that the TIE Defender is a thing?
Well, my notes say, and I quote, "What the fuck, Chrome?" ? And then Sabine looks older, very different. And then, oh god, Vizago and possibly Hondo again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, because that's right. Because they meet up with Vizago, who we've seen in previous seasons, and he's going to smuggle them on because now Lothal is in full-on Imperial occupation. They've got fucking space stations all around Lothal, fucking Star Destroyers.
It is a cool shot. And one of the things that... I'm cutting you off. Sorry. One of the things that they talked about in the Rebels Recon, which was actually pretty cool, was they said that, with Lothal, they made it very specifically like they were going to the same planet, but with all the Star Destroyers and everything else, they were giving you an immediate, it was the same map painting and everything else. It just they added the smokiness and everything to it to show that basically it was a world that was being burned down.
Mm-hmm.
And The cool shot of all the Star Destroyers and everything else I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, and they've got these what I'd like to call world rapers, that these massive fucking machines that are just going through Lothal. They're sucking up all the natural resources and just leaving a burning trail behind them, and like that's going on all over Lothal. So, and really, the rebels just going to get more information about the TIE Defender, because
they're going to get the flight data recorder, because I keyed on this.
Jesus Christ, the fucking. Okay, so since you haven't seen the episode in a while, I'm not sure how much you're going to remember what the actual verbiage goes on here. But they see the TIE Defender because they're doing a test run, right? So they see it flying around. It lands. They're on this hill looking down. Pilot gets out and goes to talk to I think it's fucking Governor Price. And
God, I wish she was prettier.
I know.
They could have drawn her so much better.
Well, they drew an amazing rack on her, but she's ugly as fuck.
No, I just had to bring that up.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, Sabine's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go steal the flight data recorder. That's gonna have all of the specifications of the TIE Defender, like its range. It's gonna have, you know, all of its specifications, its armor and its weaknesses." And I'm like, "Do you know what a flight data recorder is?" Because like, if you go and pull the fucking flight data recorder from that 737 that just went down in Indonesia, it's not going to say what the range of a 737 is or what the fucking materials it's made out of is. It's going to tell you like what happened to the plane while it was flying.
Okay. But if you really want to hyperanalyze it, like if you say you took the flight data recorder out of a 737, then you could probably get performance specs from that, because you're analyzing what the engines and stuff are doing.
I guess.
I mean, like if dude, this isn't the flight data recorder podcast. I get it. What is happening in the chat? Message retracted.
Oh, well, I know not Facebook, but the YouTube Live, they moderate fucking comments now. Like, and if it's anything offensive, then they'll either block it or they'll make you have to approve it before you can.
That's okay. So apparently shenanigans are happening in the chat. So
yeah, Madman Madden.
Tetris music plays.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway. Flight data recorder. So
yeah.
What did you have to say about that?
No, it just that's part of it. They're going to get the flight data recorder, and then Thrawn shows up.
Yeah.
The one big thing I took out of this episode is that Thrawn is now like he's leading from the front in this part because of the importance of the TIE Defender.
Right, because that's his project. That's his baby, essentially. Now there's this part where, you know, when Hera and Ezra go to fucking steal the thing, Sabine hops in the TIE. Ezra stands outside keeping watch. Obviously, they see him. So he's like running away from the Imperials, blocking their shots, while Thrawn is right there on the fucking runway. And there's this one scene where fucking Ezra falls down. He's being like chased by the fucking stormtroopers. He falls down. He's like 6 feet away from fucking Thrawn. Thrawn's just standing there looking down at him and is like fascinating. Where we know Thrawn is highly trained in hand-to-hand combat, and he could have walked up and just fucking throat kicked Ezra when he was on the ground and just fucking subdued him right then and there, lightsaber or not. I'm sorry, but
everything that Thrawn does, everything that Thrawn does has a purpose,
right?
So obviously, he was, for whatever reason, was analyzing that situation for whatever outcome it was. You know, if we learn anything from Thrawn, we learn that he's like there's nothing frivolous about any action that he does or does not do. Like everything has this like excessive amount of thinking involved in it. So I don't put too much stock in that. Like obviously they need Ezra to fucking move on.
Yeah. And I want to take a step back real quick because we're actually dipping into the second episode, the Flight of the Defender,
which is actually the better episode of the
Yeah, because the occupation is just really all about them getting on to Lothal. And for the first time in 4 fucking seasons, I know I mentioned this, like the first Rebels show that we did on this podcast, I mentioned, why don't they ever put on fucking disguises? Why are they always still wearing their same fucking clothes? Sabine's still wearing, and they're sneaking around through like Imperial bases and all this.
They weren't disguises. They were disguises when they...
No, you go back and you watch. And they're almost always in their normal clothes. Every once in a while. Every once in a long while, Kanan and Ezra will put on stormtrooper outfits, but not very often.
Right. Ezra had a stormtrooper, like, or it wasn't a stormtrooper. It was a
the scout trooper.
Yeah, he like carried that around with him. They had
not all the time. Most of the time,
he was in a TIE fighter pilot outfit.
That may have been one episode. That may have been one fucking episode, but for the most part, they're all wearing their normal fucking outfits. Sabine's in her fucking painted up Mando outfit. Ezra's in his normal fucking clothes. Kanan's in his normal fucking clothes, and they're sneaking around Imperial bases. I'm like, why don't you put on fucking disguises? Finally, for the first time, they all put on disguises as they're going into Lothal, as they're trying to, disguise themselves as fucking, I don't know, smugglers or some shit.
Why are you hating on this episode, man?
I'm not hating. I'm just saying, they finally fucking thought of this. I was saying this episode 1 of this goddamn series.
Well, they obviously didn't consult you, Jason.
Clearly not. But one thing I did notice when they were all in new outfits, Hera actually has kind of a small rack because she was in like a tank top, kind of like this one actually, and she
don't pull that down. Oh God.
But
Jason just basically showed his tits. Everybody, if those are listening to this podcast, hence the vomit.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a whole lot going on upstairs, sadly. So
yeah.
Which which we know Twi'leks can, because you remember the Twi'lek Jedi from fucking Clone Wars.
Hey, maybe she was wearing a sports bra. You don't know.
Killer rack. Maybe
she has a sports bra, and she's running around doing pilot shit. You don't need those things getting in the way.
Yeah, and then we had a moment between Hera and Kanan where they were both kind of like ducking away from the Imperials, and they were both like face to face, like in an alley. And that's where, it's the full-on reveal, as we've been hitting at it for the last few episodes. Now we know for sure that this is full-on, as they were just about to kiss and they stop. And then later on in Flight of the Defender, they're just about to kiss again and they get interrupted, until finally at one point Hera just grabs him and just fucking kisses him. And
yeah, that was at the end of Crawler Commanders, right? Or Crawler Commandeers.
I thought that was maybe.
The kiss. It was tough watching all 4 of them like in a group, because it starts to blend together because you're watching it as a full story.
Yeah, I'll consult my note. But then as we move into the next episode, Flight of the Defender, my first note is, well, the disguises are gone. They're all back in their fucking street clothes or their normal uniforms or their fucking Mando outfit again.
It's tough to move around in disguises.
It can't be any harder than moving around in fucking Mandalorian armor. But whatever. I'll let it go. I just wanted to
Mandalorian armor is designed to fight and move around in, so I doubt that's a good example. Just saying. What do you want to be in? Pajamas?
I'm done. I'm not talking about this anymore. All right, then I have my notes about the flight data recorder. Terrible plan overall by Sabine to just like hop into the fucking TIE and try to steal the flight data recorder when
because they get shot down.
Yeah,
they get shot down. But let's talk real quick about the TIE Defender itself. This is going to span a few episodes, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So one thing that they brought up in Rebels Recon, and it's something I thought about when I watched the show originally. I'm making a circle motion because the TIE Defender's got 3 wings. Mm-hmm. The importance, like we read it in Thrawn, and we've read it in the 2 Thrawn books that are canon. Yep. That how in this project, the TIE Defender project, was what Thrawn wanted to do to win the war.
Right.
Because we see what the TIE Defender could do. Like if you take a TIE fighter with no shields, expendable pilot, basically you throw a million of these things out there up against an enemy that has proton torpedoes, 4 cannons, and oh, by the way, a shield and a fucking hyperdrive.
So, you're basically trying to Zerg rush him at that point. Just throw everything you can at him and hope enough gets through.
Whereas what Thrawn's strategy was to win the war was to use a TIE Defender, which would be comparable to an X-Wing and be able to defeat them because they had a lot less X-Wing.
Right. And then when he finds out about the Death Star too, he's like, no, this is a mistake. You're putting all your eggs in one big basket when we should be focusing on this.
So I think that the big thing, and they talked about it in Rebels Recon, and I agree with them, is and how could you not? It's like Dave Filoni talking, and did this thing. So one of the big things is, or at least that I think about, is you have Thrawn wanting to win a war because that's what his task is to win the war. Whereas the Emperor and Krennic and all those people, they wanted people to be afraid.
Yeah.
They wanted to rule with that giant fucking orb that would suddenly show up and be like, we're going to fucking destroy everything. Like in seconds. Boom, done. Right? So that's what the Emperor wanted. The Emperor wasn't interested in winning the war. The Emperor was just interested in control. Thrawn's interested in winning the war. So we see this separation of what, and we see the frustration in Thrawn, like in the books and everything else, when talking about the Death Star and the resources and everything else. That's what. So, if for nothing else, and as people who have read the Thrawn books and all that stuff, we can make this association with the Rebels episode that why Lothal is so important, because the resources in Lothal are being used to build the TIE Defender, and this is Thrawn's baby.
Yep,
he wants it to fucking succeed so that he can implement this and ultimately win the war. So I thought it was interesting to hear the cast members and Dave Filoni talk about it along the same lines too. Is like, you know, this is giving us a visual image of what's going on in the Thrawn books.
Yeah. Now, behind the scenes of everything that's going on, and this carries over through the next 4 episodes, is Ezra starts seeing and hearing like animals. First, it starts with like the Loth cats, and then eventually he starts seeing these Loth wolves, these wolves that are native to Lothal, that apparently were missing for hundreds of years. But like him and Sabine steal the TIE Defender, gets shot down, crashes. And again, Sabine's like, oh, well, let's steal the hyperdrive. Brilliant fucking idea. You're going to carry this hyperdrive across the desert, but whatever. And they're looking for a place to stash it. And one of these Loth kittens shows them like a secret path between these mountains where they can stash it and all this other stuff. But yeah, Ezra's getting a lot of stuff like this throughout these episodes. So I'd be remiss if we didn't bring that up. And then at the end of this episode, The Flight of the Defender, one of the wolves says to him, and you'll have to help me out with this, it sounds like it says Doom, D-O-O-M.
That's what I think it says too.
Okay, because it's revealed what it is that he's actually saying to him, and I'm like, ooh, that's a little dreadful. Just saying Doom to him before he like beats feet out of there. But that's kind of the end of The Flight of the Defender. And mind you, all 4 of these episodes all take place on Lothal too. It's all continuing the same fucking storyline, which is good.
And the cast or one of the cast members actually talked about it, or one of the storyboard artists was saying that how it's actually kind of nice, because usually in Rebels they're jumping from planet to planet. It was nice to actually be able to like stay on one planet and build the story in one area, you know, as opposed to worrying about jumping around.
Yep.
Nope,
So we
lost my train of thought. Shit.
That's fine. We move into the next episode, Kindred. And it's still on Lothal. They're still chasing Ezra and Sabine as they're trying to haul this fucking hyperdrive and get back to the rebels. And then Thrawn brings in his special assassin. The guy's name is Rook, who, by the way, I don't know if you saw this in your little making of, but is voiced by Warwick Davis.
Yes, I did. I did notice that.
Yeah.
They talked about the Warwick Davis connection. They also talked about how they took this character. This is another expanded universe character that is now being brought into canon.
Oh, I didn't realize that. What is he from originally?
He was from the original Thrawn trilogy. The Rook character. But what they did for Rebels is they talked about how the animators, like the Filoni wanted something like originally they had a more of a like creature. Instead, they wanted something a little bit more like intimidating, more alien-like. So that's what they talked about, the coloring and everything else, everything that went into it, actually developing that character. But it is an original, like expanded universe that was from the Thrawn trilogy. This is another character that they brought into the canon. So it's what the big thing for me is, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is like the more they reach into the expanded universe and pull some of these characters out, even if it's not exactly the same, it's really cool to see like them go to a resource that's already been written, say, you know what, there's some good character here, let's pull this in.
Right. You know? And they're not just completely like being like, nope, it's not our creation, so we don't want anything to do with it. No, they're
why? You know why? And this is why this is such a fucking good world, like to occupy ourselves with when we're talking about Star Wars, is they're all fans. They're all Star Wars fans. You know, that they've read these books and they know this the expanded universe stuff, and they can bring this stuff in and out, and you know they're thinking about those things. They're not thinking about like what's best for their bottom line or whatever, because like Disney made a decision about that. No, these characters live out there, and they're showing us that they're not afraid to fucking use them, and I think that's awesome. This is a Dave Filoni product, and we've talked at length about how Filoni's influence and everything else is still keeping Star Wars. Make Star Wars great again.
Yeah, and
Filoni's the guy to do it.
It's helping heal also all those people that got burned when they shit canned all of the old canon and turned it into Legends. Like a lot of people were fucking pissed about that because you invest all this time reading fucking 200 different books for it to all just get thrown away like that. I mean, I understand why Disney did it. I'm not arguing that point, but it doesn't mean that these people weren't burnt and they weren't pissed. So you're this is a way to try to heal some of those wounds, I think, by bringing in some of these old characters, which is why I was so happy when they brought Thrawn back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
one last thing with the Nagri character, the Nagir. No, it's Nagri.
Yeah.
This is just the species is prolific in the expanded universe, not just with Thrawn, but with the Fate of the Jedi books, and moving into the more recent ones, because anyway, I'm not turning this into expanded universe episode, but it's, to me too, I immediately picked up on the fact that this is because I watched the Rebels Recon. I would have never made that really association with the character unless I saw the Rebels Recon. So
yeah, well, it's been 20 years since I've read the Heir to the Empire trilogy, so I knew the Nagri were in there, but I didn't realize Rook was the guy. Because I think he was Thrawn's personal bodyguard, but he eventually kills him later in the book.
Yep, he does. And actually, Bronco Fett mentions that in the chat, that Rook kills Thrawn in the books. Spoiler alert!
Yeah. Sorry, if you haven't read that book in the last 20 years, that's not even canon anymore. I apologize. Anyway, moving on with the Kindred episode. So yeah, this Rook, Thrawn brings him in to try to hunt down the rebels, since apparently the Imperials can't do it. We see a little bit of a rift between Thrawn and Governor Pryce, where Thrawn basically tells her, like, look, bitch, you had your chance. You fucked it up multiple times. I'm bringing in the big guns now. So that's when he brings in Rook. And, of course, Rook can't get the job done either, obviously. He's not going to just willy-nilly catch the rebels. Couple of my notes here. Kanan has quickly turned into, like, a needy bitch these last couple episodes, because he's, like, just pining over Hera all of a sudden. Now, once that door has been opened, now, like, all he ever talks about is, we never get to spend time with each other. Or, do you how do you feel about me? And
what are you doing? Jesus Christ.
What the hell? What did you do?
We have a throwing of an Ewok dog toy, complete with dog hair.
Nice.
Why? She's bored. That's what happened. Like, she's listening and she's bored.
Oh.
Because there's too much Star Wars, not enough shenanigans.
Right. Oh, don't worry. There's some shenanigans coming in a minute. But yeah, Kanan's quickly turned into just like a needy little bitch all of a sudden. That's just like constantly pining over Hera, which I get it, but come on, don't be a pussy.
No, that wasn't good.
There was a badass scene where Hera is escaping from fucking Lothal in some stolen shuttle or something.
Yeah, it was some sort of.
Yeah,
it wasn't a fighter or anything.
Yeah, but they've got this blockade going, right? And they've got one of those fucking space stations, but it's got like an open bay that like goes completely through it. Because I guess it's like a maintenance hangar or something. So she fucking lines it up, and she goes to light speed because she couldn't get around it, and she goes right through the fucking hangar bay, like at light speed. Like
that was a cool shot,
and that was pretty fucking awesome. I thought that was really cool. I wrote in my notes, holy shit.
There's a lot of like this season. I feel like there's a lot of really good, like, just, I don't know. I want to say drawings, but just like good representations of like the space battles and shit like that. Some of it just is really, maybe because there's TIE Defender and stuff like that. Not that I'm a huge fan of the design of TIE Defender, I'm going to be honest, but
yeah,
there's also coming back to TIE Defender because that's what I do. It's my thing. The TIE Fighter game had a TIE Defender in it.
Really? The original TIE Fighter game?
Yeah.
No shit.
In fact, I'm going to pull up an image. Keep talking.
So while you're looking for that, I am going to shift gears here because now we kind of come to the culmination of all the animal, the wolf whisperer shit, because they're again running away from the fucking Empire. They see the Loth wolves who kind of lead them through this cave system to get away from the Empire, and Kanan and Ezra are there now, and the wolf says fucking Doom again, and Kanan's like, oh shit. He's like, because that's my original name. It's either Doom or Dune or something like that. And
I think ultimately, as it starts to become a little bit clearer, I think it is Dune.
Okay,
we might want to look that up, but
yeah, and
we're slaves to the accuracy on this All Things Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, but yeah, Kanan's like, yeah, that's my real name, and they lead him through these fucking caves that have like all these like hieroglyphics on them, and through these pictures, you can see that the Jedi visited this area before, like, and visited these wolves long ago, however long ago it was. And I don't know if you noticed, but on one of those paintings, it was a Yoda species. It was either Yoda himself or one of his species, because we know he's not the only one of his species that's been in the universe. You know, you had
you see him in
in episode 1, you see Yaddle, the female, and then in
Yaddle,
that was her name, Yaddle.
I can only think of that with the Robot Chicken episode.
Yeah, but
when, what's his nuts wants to borrow Yaddle's car.
Yeah,
to go pick up pizza.
Yeah, but and then also in Knights of the Old Republic, you had another character from that species who talked exactly like Yoda, by the way. So yeah, there's all these hieroglyphics on the wall. They walk through this like fucking psychedelic space cave. It's all, you know, they're seeing like all kind of like
bullshit.
Yeah, or from the holiday special, and it's like this whole kaleidoscope, stars, and all this stuff. And then for a quick second, they're laying in a field, and then they wake up and they're on the other side of the fucking planet. They're like on the opposite hemisphere, and that's kind of where this episode ends. And Hera delivers the flight data recorder to the rebellion, and that's when we go into the final episode, the Crawler Commandeers. So, do you have anything else on these previous episodes, or the Jedi hieroglyphics, or any of that?
Well, all I wanted to bring up was that, like, with the wolves, Filoni mentioned something that made the wolves actually a little bit more palatable to me. They talked about like how they were going to use like something like they needed something in the storyline, and it's like this whole wolves thing developed. Apparently, Dave Filoni has a thing for wolves. So when the animators talk about like how much time they put into animating these wolves, because they're like, it's apparently really difficult, and I think they did a good job of it, you know, within the restraints. Oh,
okay.
My wife says it's one last throw for the remote. She had to throw something for the remote podcast.
Okay.
It was one last throw, a ceremonial throw for the last remote podcast. So good job.
Oh, right. Because she can't do that anymore.
Yeah, because we don't have any carrots or potatoes, or she probably would have thrown that.
Yeah. So anyway,
no, God, Jefferson Starship is canon. The holiday special is not canon.
Moving on to the final episode of this series.
You can force me to watch it however many times you want. It's not going to make it canon.
It'll always be canon in my mind. So,
of course,
Crawler Commandeers. This is almost kind of like the only throwaway episode so far of the season, where it's just kind of like one isolated story that's really not really that much part of the bigger thing. So to kind of mix things up a little bit, we're gonna have a special guest on. But first, I want to set up this part. So you know those Earth Rapers I was talking about? The big fucking machines that just like carve up the Earth and leave like a flaming trail behind them. Yeah. Well, so our crew goes to hijack one of those, and they find a bunch of slaves in like the engine area, right?
Right.
And so to talk about this, I wanted to bring in a special guest from the First Order. He is Lieutenant Billy Ray, I think it is. Is that Billy Ray? God damn it, why can't you motherfuckers understand what my last name is? Billy Ray. All one word, Billy Ray. Okay, well, thank you, Lieutenant. I appreciate that. So I just wanted to get your opinion. What did you think about when our crew got onto the Earth Raper, as I like to call it, and you know they found all these slaves in the engine room, and especially amongst them was a Rodian. Goddamn right, there was a Rodian. The fucking Rodians, they only deserve to be slaves, motherfuckers. Wow. Well, Rhodians are sentient beings too. They ain't human, motherfucker. Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. I don't know why we brought you onto the show, but I know you had some opinions about Rhodians. I thought you were going to say something nice, but
what is this wee shit? This was not vetted by me, by the way. There, Billy Ray. You know what, Billy Ray, you can take. I don't like the Rhodinians either, but you know what? You're just that's it. That's it. I'm tired. I'm done with you. You would be a lieutenant too.
Well, fuck you, motherfucker, and fuck these goddamn Rhodians with their green skin and their fucking blue eyes and their big long snouts and their yap talk. I can't understand you. Go back to your planet. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Lieutenant, and good luck with the First Order. Fuck you. All right. So yeah, they find a whole bunch of. What's that?
No, we have to vet our guests a little bit better. I think,
Yeah.
At least see what they're going to say before they show up. Try and figure out if they're fucking raging idiots.
Right. So anyway, yeah, the whole story revolves around them just taking over this Earth Raper, as I like to call it, and that's it. They take over it. They trick the Empire to thinking, yeah, we really have this, and now they have it, and that's kind of the whole episode. There's really not a whole lot to say. Oh, fucking Vizago was there. They free Vizago. If I don't see him or Hondo again, it'll.
Unfortunately, they're canon now.
Yeah.
Ugh. I thought, or maybe it's not this episode where the fucking kiss happened.
Oh, I think that was this episode where they finally kissed. It was either this one or the one before. So there was one scene that I think was worth talking about. The whole fucking episode, there's this lizard guy who was the captain of the fucking ship who's causing all kinds of problems for them as they're like trying to trick the Empire, and he like crawls through the vents.
Locked him in the closet and all that.
So there's this real weird scene at the end where Ezra traps him in like the furnace room, and they're kind of struggling, fighting, and this furnace thing fucking opens to the engine, and the guy trips. Like Ezra doesn't push him or anything, and he fucking trips on Ezra's lightsaber, falls into the furnace, and just fucking burns. And it's this weird fucking shot after that of just Ezra just kind of like looking in and just kind of grinning, and it like holds on his face for a second, and then it like holds on his lightsaber for a second that's on the ground, and he just like slowly picks up his lightsaber, and then it like holds on the fucking furnace for a couple of seconds after like homeboy's like been burned to a crisp. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Because that was like a good 30 seconds of just silence and just Ezra kind of grinning that this fucking guy's dead. And then just
it was fucking annoying. Fuck him. Let him,
I guess that was just very,
shit
very
happens,
strange.
dude. Maybe you shouldn't have been struggling. You could just went in a fucking room and just relax. Instead, no. What happens? You fucking,
Yeah, that's fine. It's just
turned into the Joker.
I'm just wondering if like
Joker.
Was it like to me? It seemed like they're hinting at like Ezra like flirting with the dark side again. So I don't know if that happens for the rest of the season, but that's kind of the way it was. It was coming to me.
I mean, you put yourself in that position, and you'd be like, "Yeah, fucker. Yeah, thank God. Now I don't have to deal with this ass flick. I would close the door and like, so what's for lunch?"
Yeah. So that's all. That's pretty much the end of that episode.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like it's not really. It's conflict on Lothal and them like starting to gain the upper hand. It talks about another big thing like we're not really talking about is the fact that the rebellion is intending on attacking Lothal.
Yeah,
I think this is revealed that episode. And our gang is supposed to lead the ground attack for that. So, and of course there's the kiss, which honestly to me there was such overtones for it that when it did happen, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, it wasn't like a huge impact or anything.
But for the characters, like it's always been one of those things that's like kind of been hinted at, and then we get there. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to spoil anything that's coming. Yeah, so that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah,
Rhodinian.
So yeah, I would imagine we're going to take a couple weeks off from Rebels to, because next week obviously is going to be getting back to the studio, probably do our Trivial Pursuit rematch. And And then I don't know, we're just gonna have to kind of play it by ear what we do for episodes after that. But I mean, I don't want to linger on this season much longer, so we'll probably do it in two more parts.
I think we got 5 minutes. I think probably what's best. I'm distracted. I'm sorry. I think what's probably best is, let you get settled in. We'll do something that's fairly innocuous and fun. And then I think the week after that, we should really pick back up on Rebels and kind of bring this to a close, so that we can talk about other things. This is all dead space that could be edited out, but it's not going to be because I'm talking.
So, kind of taking a step away for a second. Apparently, we've got a whole caravan of people. We've got our own refugee caravan that might be heading to New Jersey at this point, because we mentioned last week the 100th episode coming up. I mean, we're still a few months away, obviously, but Big Love and Don Solsky are both like, "Hey, we'll come to New Jersey for your 100th episode." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And now fucking Bronco Fett wants to join the caravan as well. He's like, "Hey, are there any cheap motels in Jersey?" I'm like, "Oh shit."
There's a bunch of them. You can sleep on Jason's futon.
Yeah. I don't think there's gonna be room for all three of them.
Oh, no, I don't think there's
gonna be room. Big. Yeah, that motherfucker. We just found out in the pre-show that son of a bitch is 6'5".
You couldn't tell from his Facebook post that he was a big motherfucker?
Well, I could tell he was pretty big, but I didn't realize he was that fucking big. And of course, his wife is like 4'11", which is hilarious.
Of course, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant's girlfriend? Didn't he have a girlfriend on that they paraded out? She was some tiny broad. Anyway, never mind. Old school wrestling.
Yeah.
That those Penguins just swum off long ago. Yeah, we're finishing like we started.
Yeah. But we're gonna have to think about this if people actually want to make this journey.
Hey, listen, if you want to, we gotta like just plot out when the 100th episode is gonna be, and if I don't look, it costs money to travel, and it most likely will be we're episode 80's coming up, so we got 20 episodes. Weeks. That's 20 weeks, so that takes us in past probably January, right, into the new year.
Well, it'll be May. Remember, because we started
really
on
that long ago? Like, it seems like it's going to happen like that.
No, actually, it might be April. It might be early April.
Okay. So whatever. If people are legit going to travel out here, like I said, that would be fucking crazy. It's so fucking crazy, but awesome. I think we'd have to do I don't think we could do it in Starkiller Studios. If we've got 4 or 5 people, we're gonna have to do something special. Maybe it will. I don't know. We'll figure something out, and then we can this. You know what? Actually, this would be a good opportunity to test out potentially doing a remote, because we want to do like a Comic-Con, right? Yeah. So if we're going to record a podcast from a Comic-Con, we're going to have to set up a remote thing. So maybe we find a spot that is Star Wars or all things Star Wars or Sidebar Cantina significant. And if people want to show up, then we'll tell them, hey, you can show up here. Maybe we'll have some stuff made up that we can give away. But yeah, maybe we do that. And we set up a remote and get our technology in order to do that. And then, maybe we do it at fucking the fucking place with the things, the beers, the place you like.
Iron Hill?
Iron Hill. Maybe we do it there. Yeah. Who knows? Why not? Right?
Yeah. Or we could call up our good friend Bob Healy and be like, hey, you got any room at Gamers Vault this week?
Sure he does. I'm sure he does.
Because that other podcast recorded live from there for a long time. I don't know if they still do.
So, I don't remember the name of it. Possibility too. Get some business for Bob. All right, we're out of time.
Okay.
Follow us on Facebook. Well, that's it. 5-star reviews. We love everyone in the Sidebar Cantina. It's so much fun. Yeah. And the ball busting, I'm sure, will continue all through the rest of the week as the Penn State Michigan game shows up. And fuck Michigan and fuck the big house.
And And the next time you see us will be from Starkiller Studios.
Hooray! No more remote bullshit.
Yeah.
Our banter would actually be I don't know. it's just better. Just better when we're in person.
Yep.
My audio is better because I'm not talking out of this cheap microphone. So, but it's been real.
Yeah, we have the technology. We know we can do it if we have to, but it's so much better from the studio.
Absolutely. Anyway,
that's it. So
cue the music.
Yes. Until next time. This is Darth Martin and Emperor Roscom signing off. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Okay, now what do I click?